All right. I saw a couple weeks ago, but now it's starting to make its rounds in theaters. I, Tonya.
Yes, you do.
This is the new biopic that I believe is directed by Craig Gillespie, and it stars Margot Robbie as Tonya Harding, the infamous skater who competed for the U.S. during the Olympics and was involved in a infamous incident with Nancy Kerrigan, which if you know it, you know it, and if you don't know it, you will not believe it at first. It's one of those things where it's so surreal, it's hard to believe, but life is stranger than fiction sometimes, and I think this is a story that does really get at the absurdity, but the interesting dynamics that are underneath the story here. I think a lot of interesting movies recently that talk about public figures do so in a way that sort of reveals the way that the media has largely shaped our view of a public figure, and that it may not be as truthful to that person as it could be. And this is a great movie at showing how the reality is often a lot more nuanced and complicated than the absorbable media story. There's a very one-note, white trash depiction of Tonya Harding that has developed over the years, and there's so much more to her story, and it's told so charming and funny and with such texture. The characters here are really fully developed. There's a great performance, not just from Margot Robbie, who I expect to be nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars, but from Allison Janney playing Tonya Harding's mother, Lavana, just the nastiest woman, and the just purposefully imbuing the skill of ice skating on her daughter and scarring her along the way, and doing it in a bleak, hilarious style that Allison Janney is great at if you've seen some of her other performances. There's a really great performance here from Sebastian Stan as Tonya Harding's husband, and there's a couple other really interesting performances here too. I think this movie sometimes reaches a little bit for dramatic weight. Okay. It tries to implicate, basically, it does that thing where it's like, and you're guilty too for watching. And I don't know if it necessarily earned it, but it's a really enjoyable ride the whole way through. I laughed out loud while being engaged with the drama. So I think it's something that, whether or not you know the story well, it's going to be gripping and entertaining. It's probably one of the favorite movies that I've seen all year. I definitely recommend checking out I, Tonya if it has expanded to your city.
Oh, 2 questions.
Yes.
It seems similar because it's based off a true sports story with a crazy ending, but obviously different in other ways in terms of tone. But comparing it to Foxcatcher,
right?
Better or worse in your opinion? Or I mean, they're both really good movies, but like, which do you prefer?
So I would say that I preferred personally.
I feel like
I preferred I, Tonya.
I feel like I will too.
Yeah, and like that's not to diss Foxcatcher, which is a excellently made film with really great acting and just beautiful, beautiful cinematography, but it's not a pleasant experience.
Okay.
And I, Tonya is a pleasant experience.
Of an unpleasant event, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of unpleasantness, but it's depicted in a way that feels more relatable and feels more human, and doesn't feel as bleak and devastating as Foxcatcher did. I like Foxcatcher. This movie is definitely more mainstream, and in a way that I enjoyed.
Question number 2. You say she deserves an Oscar nomination, but we talked about 3 Billboards.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of, you haven't seen the other one that should be getting a nomination, Mrs. Ladybird. But where do you see her as a strong contender? Nomination's one thing, but who are we talking about? Like, is she up there with the top 2 that usually end up going head to head?
So, you know me, I pay a lot of attention to the Oscars race. It is harder for a woman in a movie that she's dominating by herself to get that nomination for Best Actress if the movie isn't really getting other things with it. Like, a lot of times you see a Best Actress being nominated from a movie that's getting like 5 other Oscar nominations, and I don't know where I, Tonya's 5 other Oscar nominations are going to come from. I think if anything, it's going to be just her, and I could see it getting overlooked, but I think she's going to make it. I don't like the performance as much as the 3 Billboards performance from Frances McDormand, but Margot Robbie is an actress who I think has captivated people in various roles. She's shown her range in a few different movies, and this is a really great example of what she can do, how she can be relatable, charming, funny, and dramatic. She's got range, and I think this will be a good moment for her. With a lot of times the Oscars like to crown like a young up and coming actress, so I think this is the right kind of movie to crown her with.
I think it'd be a split, like you know how the Globes kind of do like best drama and best like comedy. I can see her getting the comedy actress unless they end up deciding that Three Billboards is a comedy.
That's true. Yeah, I mean it's tough because there's a lot of movies that are kind of like riding that line. You know, we talked about the Get Out controversy a couple weeks ago.
That is a comedy though. Like they kind of pitched it as one as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say that Three Billboards is a comedy, but I don't know if it's going to get nominated there.
It's weird. And I would also say that Lady Bird is a comedy. And I'm going to tell you right now, Saoirse's like, that's my favorite performance of the year right now. I don't think it's the best, but it's my favorite performance. I don't know.
Oh, well, you've seen Three Billboards and Lady Bird. Do you have a preference between those two lead actresses?
Personally, I would like Saoirse to win because I think she's fantastic. But it's it's hers to win. Like, it's hers.
Yeah.
It has to be.